Good morning. Namaskar. I'm sorry, a little bit late, but let us begin our study with the prayer. This is one second. On page 174 of Universal Prayers, the book Universal Prayers, there are three stanzas, slokas from Shankaracharya's Pratasmarana Stotram. Pratasmarana means remembering, recollecting our divine nature or God first thing in the morning when we wake up. Om Pratasmarami hृदि saṃsmṛtya Satchit sukham paramaham sagatim turiyam Yat swapna jagara sushuptamavaiti nityam Tad brahmanishkalamaham nacha bhuta sanghaka Pratar bhajami manaso vachasamagамyam Vacho vibhanti lila yadanugrahena Yanneti neti vachanair nigama avochu Tam deva deva majamachyutama uragryam Pratarnamami tamasah paramarkavarnam Purnam sanatana padam purushottamokhyam Yasmin nidam jagadasheshamasheshamurtau Rajvam bhujangama iva pratibhasitam vai. The English translation on page 175. At dawn, I meditate within my heart on the self-effulgent Atman, the existence, consciousness, bliss absolute, the goal of the greatest ascetics, the transcendent and the eternal, who is beyond the states of waking, dream, and sleep. I am really that indivisible Brahman and not a combination of material elements. At dawn, I worship him who is beyond the reach of mind and speech, but because of whose presence all speech becomes manifest. Him the scriptures indicate by the words not this, as beyond all attributes. Him the sages describe as the God of gods, eternal, immutable, and supreme. At dawn, I salute the effulgent being, who is beyond all darkness, who is called the Supreme, the Infinite and the Eternal, in whom appears the world of manifold forms, like the snake superimposed on the rope. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace. May there be peace in our hearts, Adhyatmika Shanti. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings, Adi Bhautika Shanti. And may there be peace everywhere in nature, Adi Daivika Shanti. We are concluding our study of the Bhagavad Gita. Let us go to the last verse, last 3 verses, 76, 77, and 78 in chapter 18. This whole Bhagavad Gita started as a conversation between Sri Krishna and Arjuna, nested within the conversation between Dhritarashtra, the Kaurava king, and Sanjaya. The Dhritarashtra asked the very first sloka of the first chapter, Dhritarashtra Uvacha, Dhritarashtra asked Sanjaya, when my sons, the Kauravas and the Pandavas and their armies assembled on the Kurukshetra battlefield, what happened? So, because Dhritarashtra was away in Hastinapur, the capital, away from Kurukshetra where the war was happening. And Sanjaya narrates, Sanjaya had received the divine vision from Vyasa to be able to see what was happening on the battlefield. And as he was watching, Sanjaya narrates whatever he was watching happening on the battlefield to Dhritarashtra. So, and then he narrates the conversation between Arjuna and Sri Krishna. Arjuna asked Bhagavan Sri Krishna, expresses his dilemma, how to fight with my own relatives, cousins, teachers, and the grandsire Bhishma. They are dear to me, related to me. If I kill them, if we win, in spite of our smaller army, Pandava's smaller army, then we will get the kingdom, but that kingdom will come tainted with the blood of the Kauravas, which I don't like. Or if they kill us, which is more likely because I have a larger army, Kauravas have a larger army, then we'll all die. Either eventuality is undesirable, so what should I do? That was Arjuna's question. And in response to that, Bhagavan Sri Krishna explains what one's duty is, and by doing one's duty without attachment, remaining equanimous in success and failure, one achieves the highest goal. By performing one's duty without attachment and offering everything we do to the divine and remaining unperturbed in success and failure, in gain and loss, in praise and blame, under all conditions, we reach the highest goal. All of these are summarized in one line in the Bhagavad Gita. Second line, chapter 18, verse 46. There, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, one achieves the highest goal, perfection, by performing one's duty as worship. That means performing one's duty with love and joy and gratitude and without attachment to the fruits of action. There, 1846, Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, a person achieves the highest goal. Sakarmana tamabhyarchya siddhim vindati manavaha. So karma means one's own duty. Whatever happens to be one's duty at any given moment, by doing that as worship, tamabhyarchya, worshipping him, the Lord, our duty, performing your duty itself is worship, if it is done as worship. What happens? Manava siddhim vindati. The human being achieves perfection. The word siddhi or saṃsmṛtya comes several times in the Gita. In one place, Shankara has translated saṃsiddhi as moksha, directly liberation. Performing karma without attachment leads to liberation. In other places, he has explained siddhi as purification of the mind. Here in 18th chapter 46th verse, when Sri Krishna says, Manama Siddhi Mendati, Shankara explained that Siddhi as purification of the mind. Siddhi is explained in a commentary as Brahma Jigyasa Yogyata Lakshana Siddhi. Brahma Jigyasa means inquiry into the nature of Brahman. Who am I? What am I? What is Brahman? I am Brahman. Making inquiry into that to become eligible, qualified to make that inquiry. Who am I? The way is to perform all our actions as worship. Brahma Jigyasa, Jigyasa means inquiry into the nature of reality. What is Brahman? What am I? Upanishad says you are that. Tattvamasi aham brahmasmi. But to be able to inquire into that, we need much preparation by way of purifying the mind, making the mind free from attachment, selfishness, narrow-mindedness, and other impurities with which you are familiar. And that can be accomplished, purification of the mind can be accomplished by performing our own duties, whatever it happens to be at any given moment, as worship, offering everything we do to the divine as our offering, or as a servant performs his duty, serves the master with devotion. One of these things. So that is the main lesson. By doing one's own duty, you achieve the highest goal. That's what Sri Krishna says to Arjuna. Your duty may be pleasant or unpleasant. Sometimes our duty is not pleasant, disagreeable. We still have to do it. The example that comes to my mind is when Arjuna asks, how can I kill my own relatives who are assembled on the opposite side to fight against us? They are dear to me. Then the example that comes to my mind is, if you are a law enforcement officer, a police officer going on patrol, and you see somebody breaking into somebody else's car, and then you want to arrest that person. When you go near, discover that person who is breaking into the car happens to be your own son. Then what should the police officer do? Let him go because he is my son? Or should he do his duty and arrest his son? That was the kind of dilemma that Arjuna was in. So Sri Krishna says, you have to do your duty, even if it is unpleasant. Sadharme nadinam shreya paradharmo bhayavaha. Sadharma, one's own duty, is better to die doing that one, rather than trying to be something else or somebody else. And then he says in chapter 18, verse number 10, one has to do one's duty even if it is unpleasant. One should not despise one's work if it happens to be disagreeable, like cleaning or some hard work, working outside in the middle of the winter or in the heat of the summer. Whatever happens to be a duty, it may be disagreeable, painful, but it has to be done. Chapter 18, verse 10, Sri Krishna says, Nadveshti akushalam karma, kushale nanu shajjate, tyagi sattva samavishto medhavi chirna samshaya. Akushalam karma means unpleasant duty, unpleasant work. If it happens to be my duty, I have to do it. You are assembled on the battlefield and you have to fight with the enemies or you will be killed. It's either you or me. That situation in the battlefield. So being a Kshatriya, your duty happening to be on the battlefield is to fight. Not always. When you are not in the battlefield, you are not facing the enemy, then you are not to fight. If you are not a Kshatriya, you are not required to fight, should not fight. That's not your dharma. But you happen to be a Kshatriya, your duty is to protect the kingdom and the subjects and fight with enemies, even if the enemy happens to be your own person. Unpleasant. Akushalam karma nadveshti. A person should not despise disagreeable work. Kushale karmani nanu shajjate. If the the duty happens to be pleasant, agreeable, one should not become attached to it. That is the message that Sri Krishna gave to Arjuna. So all this was narrated to Dhritarashtra by Sanjaya. So concluding this narration, Sanjaya says, from 74 onwards, Sanjaya Ovacha, concluding the conversation between Dhritarashtra and Sanjaya. Sanjaya says 74, chapter 18. We have done this before, we'll quickly review that one. Sanjaya Ovacha, Ityaham Vasudevasya Parthasya cha Mahatmanaha saṃvādamimam ashrauṣam adbhutam rāmaharṣyanam. To Dhritarashtra, Sanjaya says, Ityaham Vasudevasya Mahatmanaha Parthasya cha saṃvādam. Saṃvāda means conversation between Vasudeva, Bhagavan Shri Krishna, and Partha the Mahatma. Partha is called Mahatma here. Why is called Mahatma, Arjuna? Because it was because of him that the whole Gita Upadesha teaching was given. If Arjuna had not raised the question, it's a valid question. This unpleasant duty, should I do? If I do this, it will happen. If I don't, this will happen. That question we all have to ask before you do anything. Before you do any action, we have to ask the same question that Arjuna asked. This job has come to me, this work has to be done. It is unpleasant, but should I do it? Or should I not do it? So you have to think about it before doing any action. That's what Arjuna said. If he had not asked the question, if he had jumped into the war, like his other brothers in the Pandava army, then there would be no question, no answer, there would be no Bhagavad Gita. But he asked the question. That's why he is a great soul. As great soul, Mahatma asks a question before doing anything. Before saying a word, we should think the consequences. All that we studied in 1825. When you do any action, before you do any action, we should ask 4 questions. 1825. Anubandham kṣayam himsam anipekṣya pauruṣam mohadarabhyate karma yattattamasamuchyate. Without thinking about the consequences of our action, no one later on us and other people, animals and plants and nature. Kṣayam, without thinking about the inevitable law that is incurred in performing any action. Some loss will be incurred. Energy, time, material. Pauruṣam, himsam, without examining whether my action will cause any injury or pain to any other being, including animals, plants, and nature. Without thinking about that. Pauruṣam, without thinking about the ability, resources I have to complete the task. Simply if I begin a job without thinking, heedlessly, then it will lead to unwanted, unpredictable, unwanted consequences. We don't want that one. That's tamasic karma. That's what Sri Krishna is saying to Arjuna. That's why, since he asked the question, before jumping into the war, that is why we have the Gita teaching for all mankind. Though it was in conversation between Krishna and Arjuna, the teaching that Lord himself gave is instruction on the dharma one has to follow in one's life, applicable to all human beings, regardless of nationality or any other consideration. And this teaching is of eternal value, never goes out of date. Universal relevance and eternal value. So that is why Arjuna is called a Mahatma. Mahatmanaha saṃvādamimam ashrauṣam. I listened to this conversation. Sanjaya says to Dhritarashtra, Adbhutam rāmaharṣyanam. That conversation was not like any 2 people talking about something. Most special conversation. The greatest conversation that ever happened between 2 people is between Krishna and Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita. Everything else fades when compared to that. Rāmaharṣyanam in our minds. Fantastic teaching. Then he says, 75, Yasa prasadat shrutavan imam guhyatamam param yogam yogeshwarat krishnat sakshat kathayata swayam. Vyasa prasadat, by the grace of Vyasa, imam param guhyatamam shrutavan. I listened to this conversation between Krishna and Arjuna because by the grace of Lord Vyasa, this most significant, guhyatamam, most mysterious teaching, param, supreme teaching, yogam, the supreme path to know, to devote to liberation, from whom sakshat krishnat kathayata swayam. Lord himself gave the teaching directly, not through some other teacher. When we get our teaching, ordinarily it comes through so many other people. Our teacher got the teaching from his teacher and so on. But in this case, the Lord himself, who is the source of all knowledge, Yogeshwara, he himself gave the teaching directly to Arjuna. Then he says in 76, rājansaṃsmṛtya saṃsmṛtya saṃvādamimamadbhutam keśavārjunayoḥ puṇyaṃ hṛṣyāmi muhurmuhuḥ. O Rajan, O King Dhritarashtra, calling to mind again and again this wonderful and holy dialogue between Krishna and Arjuna, I repeatedly rejoice. Saṃvādamimamadbhutam samvādam, this great conversation between Keshava and Arjuna, keśavārjunayoḥ samvādam, puṇyaṃ, divine conversation, saṃsmṛtya, remembering that again and again, hṛṣyāmi, I become so joyful, experience a great bliss by simply remembering the teaching that Sri Krishna gave to Arjuna. Muhurmuhuḥ, again and again, hṛṣyāmi, I became great thrill, I experience joy, experience bliss, I experience. Same thing in this 77th verse, next verse. saṃsmṛtya rūpamadbhutam hareḥ vismayo me mahan rajan hṛṣyāmi muhurmuhuḥ. Saṃsmṛtya, remembering again and again, rūpam atyadbhutam hareḥ, of the Lord Hari, the great form, cosmic form that he revealed to Arjuna in the 11th chapter, Vishwarupa. Everything in the world, whole universe is in the Lord, past, present, and future happening. That divine form, which is very rare, only as an act of special grace, Lord Sri Krishna displayed it, revealed it to Arjuna. Even other gods and goddesses could not have this vision. That, seeing that, remembering that cosmic form, which Sanjay also saw, he was watching what was happening on the battlefield. Atyadbhutam vismayo me maharajan hṛṣyāmi muhurmuhuḥ. I become wonderstruck, and again I experience this bliss, remembering the cosmic form of the Lord that I saw. Then 78, last verse. Yatra yogeshwarah Krishno yatra partho dhanurdharaha tatra shrirvijayo bhutihi dhruvanetirmatirmama. Wherever the yogi, master of yogi, Yogeshwara Krishna is there, yatra partho dhanurdharaha, wherever Partha Arjuna is there, holding the bow, dhanuhu, Gandiva, wherever he is there, tatra, in that place, Shrihi, wealth will be there. Vijaya, success will be there. Everything they do will be successful. Bhutihi, prosperity will be there. Dhruvanetihi, permanent, stable social order. Peace in society will be there. Matirmama, this is my conviction. Sanjay concludes this narration. Wherever Bhagavan Shri Krishna is there, is present. Wherever Arjuna is there, everything will be prosperous, successful. People will be happy and peaceful. Peace will prevail. Otherwise, Without this teaching, if people live any way they like, there will be no prosperity, no peace, only violence and suffering. You are seeing that in some societies. Only suffering is there. Their women are not respected. Nobody follows any rule of law. Indulgent violence, total selfishness, narrow-mindedness. There is no peace, there is no joy, there is no success, there is no prosperity. Wherever Sri Krishna is, Arjuna is, Krishna, how can he is present everywhere as the Lord. Sarvavyapin. He is present in the whole universe, in every place, at all times. That we saw before. Here it means wherever people study his teachings, Bhagavan Sri Krishna's teachings, and perform all their actions as after considering the consequences, as Arjuna did. When people follow these rules, there in that society, in that family, in that organization, peace will prevail, prosperity will be there, joy will be there, happiness will be there. Otherwise, the opposite, only violence and suffering will be there. So that is the importance of this teaching. So that is how Sanjaya concludes his narration of what happened on the battlefield, mainly the conversation between Arjuna and Sri Krishna to Dhritarashtra, the Kaurava king. That is the conclusion of the Bhagavad Gita. And the Mahabharata, in the Mahabharata it comes. This whole episode happens in the Mahabharata, just before the great war between Kauravas and Pandavas on the Kurukshetra battlefield. Now, having studied this one, two things we have to do. One thing is, I request you not to put the Gita book aside and say, I have read the Gita. No one can say that any time. It's not a book that we can never complete studying. It's a lifelong study. It's like the Gospel and other, the Holy Bible and other sacred scriptures. We can never say, I have studied that one. So every day we have to continue studying the Gita and applying whatever we can, the teachings of the Lord in our lives. Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna said, study the Gita every day, one shloka, at least. Many people study the whole Gita, chant the whole Gita every day. I know several people, members of the Gita Mandal organization. One person I got an email recently, he studies, repeats 9 chapters every day. 2 days he completes the Gita and thinks about the meaning. Some people chant 3 chapters another day. One other person I know. Some people chant a few verses. 1 verse a day. Like taking multivitamin, 1 a day, 1 verse a day. We have to study the Gita and try to understand the deeper meanings. When you study one side as we did, you don't get the full meaning. You just get some understanding will come, but not the full meaning, everything. It takes a lot of reflection, reading, reflection, and meditation. Shravanam, Mananam, Nididhyasanam, repeatedly. Then only slowly it will seep into our minds. So we can never say, I've studied the Gita. So one thing I request you. Second thing is, when you study, we have to try to understand the deeper meaning, not just the verbal meaning. Vachyartha, Lakshartha, 2 elements of meanings are there. Vachyartha means what the words mean. Verbal meaning, literal meaning. That's given in the books. Lakshartha means what is intended to be conveyed. That is what we have to grasp and put into practice. So that is, since I didn't get any questions from you, we'll review some of the shlokas in the remaining time. It takes a long time to review even the main shlokas of the 18 chapters, but as much as possible we'll do. Beginning from 2nd chapter. 2nd chapter, verse number 13 and 14. There Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, changes are inevitable in everybody's life. Changes are inevitable in everybody's life. Nothing is stable. Every moment, life is changing. Everything is changing. So a wise person should accept these changes without being disturbed, perturbance of the mind, and calmly proceed. That means forbearance, accepting the inevitable changes. We can't stop the changes. That is sloka number 13 in chapter 2. Kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantara prapti. Chapter 2, verse number 13. 11. In chapter 2, various changes happen in our lives, everybody's life. Dehinosmin yatha dehe kaumaram yavanam jara tata dehantara prapti dhiras tatra namuhyati. Asmin dehe, in this body, kaumaram, childhood, infancy, childhood, yavanam, youth, tata dehantara, jara, old age, tata dehantara prapti, acquiring another body. That means this body has to be given up. Death will come. All these things are inevitable in everybody's life. Tatra, in this matter, tiraha namohyate. A wise person with wisdom and experience does not become disturbed, accepts every change. You can't stop it. You can do a little bit here and there to postpone old age, and those things will not work. Artificial thing. Changes will happen. Death will come. You have to be ready for that one. Not be perturbed by these changes. The 14th verse, there, the nature of happiness, pain and pleasure is explained. What we call pain and pleasure, happiness and happiness, is simply interaction between sense organs and sense objects. That's all. It happens at the sense organ, sense object level, mind level. Beyond that, there is no happiness, there is no pain. There is no pleasure, there is no unhappiness. Matras 214. Matras parshasta kaunteya shitoshna sukadakkada agama apayana anityaha tam titikshasva bharata. Titikshasva, practice forbearance, titiksha. So matra means sense organs, 5 sense organs of perception, jnanendriyas. Sparsha means contact with sense objects. Eye seeing some pleasant form, ear hearing some pleasant sound, tongue tasting some pleasant food, etc. That is construed by the mind as sukha, shita, ushna, sukha, dukkha. Heat and cold, pain and pleasure. That's all. The contact between sense organs, sense objects. They come and go. Agama apainaha. They change. What is pleasant today, same thing becomes unpleasant tomorrow. When I taste some food today, is very tasty, I like to eat more of it. But after some time, I cannot eat it. It becomes like poison. Creates a lot of trouble in the body. Same thing in relationships. Today, I love somebody, I want to be with that person. After some time, I don't like that person, I want to be away from that person. So there is nothing permanent about it. Therefore, what we have to do, titikshasva, practice forbearance. Such a person whom these things do not bother, who remains calm in sukha dukkha, pain and pleasure, happiness and happiness, remains calm, he becomes fit for immortality. Verse number 15 in chapter 2. Yamhina vyatayante te. Yata means shita ushna sukha dukkha. The pain and pleasure, happiness and happiness brought about by contact of sense organ with sense object. Those are external experiences. Yete yam purusham navyatayanti. That person whom these things do not bother. Today happiness comes. Somebody makes me very happy. Take it in stride. Don't become proud and assume it will be permanent. Next moment it may change. And some other pain will come through something or somebody. That's also is impermanent, that will go away. Nothing is permanent. A person remains unperturbed by these changes. Ete shita sukha dukkadaha sukhaha yam yana vyathayanti. That person who is not bothered by them. Saha dhiraha. Dhira means a wise person with strength. Now vyathayanti. Saha amritatvaya kalpate 250. So like this. Here the message of equanimity is given already. In pain and pleasure, gain and loss, praise and blame. That message comes throughout the Gita in many places. For example, in 238, chapter 2, verse 38, he says, Sukadukhe same kritva, labha alabho jaya ajayau, tato vidhayujyasva naivam papam avapsasi. When you do our duty, we have to consider sukha and dukkha, labha alabha, profit and loss, gain or loss, jaya ajaya, success or failure, all with equanimity, taking everything in stride. When success comes, praise comes, gain comes, you should not become proud and celebrate too much. And when the opposite happens, we should not become sad and become depressed and angry. Remaining calm under all circumstances is the essence of the main teaching of the Gita. Equanimity. This comes many places in the Gita. Then, the two most important verses in the context of Karma Yoga are 47, 48 in second chapter. We studied them several times. There, Sri Krishna gives two important teachings. Karmani eva te adhikaraha, 247. Phaleshu mate adhikaraha. We have no control over the fruit of our actions. We think we are the doers. We should be able to control the outcome. We can't, because to do our work is our duty. We have to do. But what happens then afterwards is not in our control. Whether success comes or failure happens or praise comes or blame comes is not in our hands, because as you saw later in the 18th chapter, many factors other than what we do, our effort, come into play and alter the outcome of the work, and we don't have much control over the other factors, such as what other people do, weather, natural conditions, environment in the family or workplace. We can't control them, but they all affect the outcome of our work. Therefore, what is the message? We should do our best and leave the rest. Under all circumstances, we should do the best I am able to do, my duty. That's my part, responsibility, to do my duty in the best way possible. With joy, gratitude, and devotion and love, do everything I do. Because work is a gift, as we have seen before. It's a privilege. Any work is a spiritual practice. It takes us towards God if it is done properly. Same work will bind us if we do it in the wrong way. I said before that work is like a key, old-fashioned key to old-fashioned lock, not the digital lock. That key, if you turn it one way, it locks. If you turn the other way, it opens. Karma is like that one. If you do it in the right way, it opens the way to freedom, to moksha. If it is done in the same karma done wrong way, with attachment, with selfishness and greed, then it's the same karma binds us and makes us continue this cycle of birth and death. Same karma. Depends upon how we do. That is studied in chapter 3, sloka number 9. Any karma that is not done as yajna, 3.9, is going to bind. Any karma that is done as yajna, offering, without selfishness, with detachment, makes us free. 3.9, yajnarthat karmanonyatra lokoyam karma bandhanaha. So, karma has to be done, and it's our duty. But result is not in our control. Whatever comes, success, failure, we should accept it with equanimity. Message of Gita, again and again it comes. So what is the what are the instructions Sri Krishna gave? Two things he gave us in 48, 248, very important verse. Dear Bhagavan Sri Krishna says, Yogastha kuru karmani sangam tyaktva dhananjaya siddhya siddhyo samo bhutva samatvam yoga uchyate. Samatvam means equanimity. Siddhi asiddhi. Siddhi means in success, asiddhi means failure. And success and failure, in gain and loss, in fame and infamy, in praise and blame, one should remain calm and perturbed. Because these things cannot be prevented. Both will come at different times in our lives, or the same time in our lives. Success, failure will come, praise and blame will come, suffering and happiness will come at the same time. You can't prevent it. So, the key to happiness is forbearance, as is 2:14. Tam titikshasva. Practice of titiksha means forbearance. Practicing forbearance, accepting success, failure, sukha, dukkha, happiness and happiness as inevitable, calmly, without being perturbed, is the key to happiness. If you are affected by a very small thing in life, there is no happiness at all. So this comes in the 12th chapter, sloka number 19, 12:19, where Bhagavan Shri Krishna describes the qualities of a bhakta, a true devotee of God. Who is a true devotee of God? Among other things, a person who practices forbearance, calmness of mind under all circumstances. There, sloka 12:19, chapter 12, sloka 19, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, Tulya ninda stutir mauni santushto yena kenachit aniketa sthiramatihi bhaktiman me priyo naraha. 12:19, describing qualities of a true devotee of God. Tulya ninda stutihi. Ninda means blame. Stuti means praise. Tulya means treating them equally. Samana. Samatva. If you are affected by everything, somebody says good things, we become so happy. People are praising me, I'm very important, I'm very good. Somebody blames me, then we become sad. Oh, he said like this. No, we should remain calm. That people praise or blame, gain or loss, success or failure, I remain calm. That's the quality of a devotee, of a jnani, for everybody. Same thing Swami Vivekananda said in the Song of Sannyasi. Heed then no more how body lives or goes. Its task is done. That karma floated down. That one put garlands on, another kick this frame. Say not. No praise or blame can be. That a praiser praised and blamer blamed are one. Thus be thou calm, sannyasin bold, say Om Tat Sat Om. Be thou calm. Some people praise, some people blame. Somebody kicks, somebody puts a garland. Sri Ramakrishna was actually kicked by another jealous priest. You know that incident. But he didn't complain. Many people praised him. Some people called him a madman. It didn't bother him. Some people wrote negative things about him in the newspaper. It didn't bother him. Many people praised him. Same thing. Equanimity in praise or blame. Tulyaninda sutirmoni. Santushto yena kenache. Contentment. Practicing contentment under all circumstances. Good or bad, pain or pleasure, gain or loss, praise or blame, I remain content with it. No greed. Contentment means not having greed for more possession, more comfort, more money. Contentment should not be confused with complacency. Complacency means not having motivation to do better when he is able to do better. If a student is getting all poor grades, C's and D's, and when the parent asks, why don't you get some A's and B's and work hard? Student says in the Gita, Sri Krishna says, we should practice contentment. So I'm content with the grades. No, that's not contentment. Either the child has some learning disability or lack of motivation or something, you have to find out. Contentment means in regard to possessions, etc., we have to be content. Not content in spiritual practice. I'm doing 1000 japa every day, so I'm content with that. No, that's not contentment. We should have ambition. We should try to do more and more spiritual practice. I can't say I'm content with what I'm doing. It can't be. So the distinction has to be known. So 248, two instructions. Sangam tyaktva siddhya siddhyo samavabhutva. Giving up attachment. The whole essence of Gita in one word is detachment. Sangam tyaktva. Many times Sri Krishna comes back to this instruction. Free from attachment. We don't become attached to anything. Our own body, our ideas, my ideas are better, we should follow that one. Attachment or ideas. Attachment to place that we work, where we live. Attachment to possessions, our car and money, our body. Not good. Detachment. Everything is permanent. No association is permanent. Association with our bodies, with our possession, with our people in our lives, relatives, are all temporary. Sooner or later, they will end. Rājansaṃsmṛtya kaunteya, 5:22. Everything will has a beginning and an end. You should not become attached to anything in our life. So that is sangam tyaktva. Second instruction is, whenever you do something, either success may come or failure may come in spite of best efforts, or usually a combination of some aspect will succeed, some aspect of our work will fail. In all these conditions, I should remain calm. Siddhya siddhyo samavabhutva samattam yoga vichyate. Main teaching of the Gita. There are two things are given here in 48. Very important words. Whole essence of Karma Yoga is here. Most important points of Gita teachings are here in 248. What are they? Sangam tyaktva. No attachment to anything. Practicing detachment. Second thing is siddhya siddhyo samavabhutva. In success and failure, in happiness and happiness, in pain and pleasure, in praise and blame, we remain calm, unaffected by either. Essence of Gita teaching. This message of equanimity under all circumstances comes again and again. For example, chapter 5, sloka number 20. There, Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, when something pleasant happens, don't exult too much and start celebrating. Some people celebrate too much when success comes. You can see sports fans. When their soccer team or football team wins, oh, they are so happy. They are fans. And they give good money to watch the game, $1,000 per ticket to watch a Super Bowl or more. And when their teammates are so happy, they celebrate without control. The celebration becomes tamasic, getting drunk and destroying things, etc. In failure come, they are so unhappy, so angry. So there is one instance when a their soccer team failed, were defeated. The fans became very angry. They killed one of the players. So this is a reaction of a common person to success and failure. No, we should remain. Siddhya siddhyo samavabhutva. Success comes, failure comes. I take everything in stride. Main message of the Gita, equanimity. 5:20 comes many places. Chapter 5, sloka 20. There Bhagavan Shri Krishna says, na prahṛṣyet priyam prapya nodvijet prapya cha priyam sthira buddhirasam mudho brahmavid brahmani sthitaha. Brahmavid, a person who knows Brahman. Brahmani sthita, one is established in Brahman consciousness. Such a person, priyam prapya no dvijet. When something pleasant happens, success comes, praise comes, profit comes, no celebration, no, you can be happy, you don't have to be sad. Enjoy the success, but no, it's not permanent. Next moment, something may go wrong. Accept it calmly, success. Same thing about failure. Apriyam prapyana udvijet. 520. Priyam is something unpleasant, disagreeable, painful, loss, blame comes. Now udvijet. One should not become perturbed too much. Should not become too much angry, disturbed, depressed, and yell and scream and make the situation worse. Take it calmly. Everything changes in time. And then before I conclude, one more verse I like to point out. Happiness coming from the sense objects outside, they are not permanent. They are not real happiness at all. They appear to be bring happiness. Contact of sense organ, sense object. That's what usually people seek. Majority of people seek happiness in sense objects. So the sense object can be another person, it can be money, property, or fame or position. That's why people seek happiness. Generally, that's not true happiness at all. The only source of happiness is the self within, God within, divine presence. That's only we have to know that one. Otherwise, depending for happiness on outside sense objects does not bring happiness at all. 522, important verse. Where we should seek happiness, not in the world, not in relationships, not in property possession, not in youth and beauty. No, only in God. Only source of happiness is within us. Don't have to seek outside. So 522. Ye saṃsmṛtya bhoga dukkha yonaya eva te ādyantavantah kaunteya nateshu ramate buddha. Saṃsmṛtya bhoga means happiness coming from sparsha, contact with sense objects. The sense object can be another person, child, or a spouse, or somebody else, or an object, a good dress, or a car, or money, or fame, or position. All of these are outside objects. Happiness coming from them, saṃsmṛtya bhoga, they are temporary as long as contact is there. Ādyantavam, they come and go. They have beginning and an end. And dukkha yonaya evate, 522 we are doing. Eventually, for some time they bring happiness. Eventually, when they leave, they become unhappy. Cause misery, dukkha yoni, the cause of dukkha. Sometimes they'll bring happiness. When they end, there is unhappiness, disillusionment, disappointment, pain, loss will be there. They are not permanent. Keshu buddha naramate. In those kinds of pleasures coming from sense objects, Buddha means a wise person, buddhiman, naramate, does not take any delight. A true devotee of God, Narada describes in the Bhakti Sutras, a true devotee of God does not become excited about worldly experiences and pleasures. No sahi bhavati, na kaṅkshati, na shochati. Something is lost, does not become sad. Na kaṅkshati, does not desire for something which is not there, like money or pleasure or something. No sahi bhavati, does not become excited about worldly things. Ordinary people become excited about some event, like sports event, so much excitement, or some celebration, something, birthday or graduation day, so much excitement, celebration. That is not true source of happiness. A true wise person, such a person does not become attached to them, does not become excited, does not seek them. If they come, okay, welcome, thank you. When you enjoy, be happy. If they don't come, if they go away, thank you also for being with me. So, like that, remaining detached. So, two messages before we leave Gita this time. Equanimity under all circumstances and detachment. Performing our duty without attachment, without expecting pleasure for one's own self from our work or anything. Offering everything to the divine, doing every work as a worship, and practicing same-sightedness. Regardless of the quality of a person, A foolish person, wicked person is a wise person. We should see God in all of them and treat them with respect. This is the message of the Bhagavad Gita. That equanimity, same-sightedness came in 5:18, chapter 5, verse 18. There Sri Krishna says, Vidya Vinaya Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichaiva Shapake Cha Pandita Samadarshinaha. Samadarshitvam, same-sightedness. Pandita means a wise person with knowledge. Such a person looks upon everybody as God himself coming in that form. God in the form of the wicked person, God in the form of the poor person, God in the form of the saintly person, God in the form of the woman and man, only seeing God in all of them. Piercing through the misleading shell of personality, seeing divine presence in all is the basis for same-sightedness. 5:18. Vidyavane Sampanne Brahmane Gavihastini Sunichaiva Sapa Kecha Pandita Samadarshana. That we did before. So these are the main messages to be remembered and put into practice in our daily lives from Bhagavad Gita. We shall stop here and continue our study. There is a break about 4 weeks. First Wednesday in April, we will begin our study of the Kathopanishad. So in the meantime, I have 2 suggestions, requests. Daily study some Gita, at least a couple of times a week when you have time, at least one shloka. Think about it. And we can never say we studied the Gita. Second request is, if you have time and inclination, Swami Brahmarupananda has given very nice lectures on Kathopanishad. If you feel like listening to his lectures, it will be beneficial in the meantime. Then we shall resume our study of Kathopanishad in the first Wednesday in April. March, I'll be away in India. Thank you very much. You have been very patient and kind. And you, week after week, you listen to me, to my statements which are not fully understood. I have no proper training or scholarship. Whatever little I understood, I have shared with you with humility. I did not do this to bring you to knowledge or anything. I'm not a teacher. I'm a fellow student. With that, I have placed before you what a little I knew of Gita, my understanding of the Gita. And let us proceed from here with the grace of God. Let me say the closing prayer. Om sarve bhavantu sukhinah, sarve santu niramayah, sarve bhadrani pashyantu, ma kaschid dukkha bhag bhavet. Om shanti shanti shanti. Om, may all be happy, may all be free from suffering, may all know and practice what is noble, dharmic and auspicious. May there be no suffering for anyone. Om, peace. May there be peace and joy in our hearts, adhyatmika shanti. May there be peace and harmony amongst all beings, adi bhautika shanti. May there be peace everywhere in nature, adi shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. All of you stay well. Thank you very much, and may God bless us all. Saram Sri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Thank you all. Special greetings have come from Kamalamma in Houston and Manmatha, C. And some other people I can't read their letters too small. All of you stay well. Namaskar and thank you.